look, we don't need more digital currency. We already have digital currency. It's called the US dollar. It's called the euro. It's called the yen. They're all digital right now.
Hey, everybody. It's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And Gensler just showed his hand. I thought it was mind-blowing because the SEC does not have the authority to directly pick and choose specific assets for trading, only the power to regulate and oversee market compliance with applicable laws and regulations. Have a listen to what a member of Congress, Representative French Hill, had to say this morning on CNBC.
The SEC's lawsuits against Binance and Coinbase are renewing calls for enhanced cryptocurrency regulation on Capitol Hill. The House Financial Services and Agriculture Committees releasing the initial draft of a new bill that seeks to provide a framework for digital asset regulation. Joining us right now on all of this is Congressman French Hill. He's the vice chair of the Financial Services Committee and the chair of the Digital Assets Subcommittee.
That we have confusion in the marketplace, both in the commodity marketplace and the securities marketplace, about how to have the rules of the road for digital assets. So both the action on Coinbase, on Binance, and of course the collapse, infamous collapse of FTX last year, speak to me that we need this clear, concise statutory framework. That's why we've introduced this bill, and we think it will both bring clarity to the mission of the Securities and Exchange Commission and set up the proper oversight and function for the commodities markets as it relates to digital over at the CFTC. Well, I think if we had this bill in place, the SEC wouldn't have to take the actions that they've taken, because this bill tells investors, consumers, market innovators in distributed ledger technology and in digital assets how to become a decentralized digital asset company. How do you become a dealer? How are you a broker? How do you do custody for these assets? How do you have a secondary market for these assets? So it lays out that fit-for-purpose framework that we think is the right way to approach it, both at the SEC and the CFTC, so that there is clarity and we can bring that innovation back to the U.S. and that people can consider how to do digital asset projects with a framework, with some rules. That'll reduce confusion and certainly reduce enforcement actions.
We understand Congress, and, look, we all watch it. We all watch what goes on. I mean, look at the debt ceiling thing. So we get it. But this is a hot mess, really. It's like a dumpster fire. So yeah. We understand it's a wild, wild west, crypto. Oh, gee, there's nothing we could have done. But for 3 years, just, watching it just fester and Congress doesn't do anything. Now the SEC, I'm not going to, totally point fingers at them. I mean, there's plenty of blame to go around. Right. But to sign off on the Bitcoin, on the Coinbase offering and to say, yeah, we've looked at it. And for anyone who bought in, it's like, well, the SEC was there, so they should know. And then to watch it go from $60 billion to the $7 billion market cap, who do we blame? We blame, there's just plenty to go around. It's Congress's fault. It's sort of arbitrary and capricious agencies that deciding when to do something, when not to do it, depending on who's the head of the agency. Whose fault is it?
Yeah, so Joe, this is another key question, and it sort of answers Becky's question, which was, look, the SEC approved an S1 for Coinbase to go public. So you can't have it both ways at the SEC. That's my point, and that's why I think it's not clear what the rules of the road are.
Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse weighed in on this. He said if it wasn't already clear, it should be now. Chair Gensler's laughable pro-innovation stance, as he said today, is exactly the opposite. What this tells me is the SEC is throwing lawsuits at the wall and hoping they distract from the agency's FTX debacle. He continues, it's embarrassing to watch an unelected bureaucrat flail like this to mask the fact that he and his agency don't have the power that he so desperately craves. No one is fooled. Moving right along, I wonder how many people actually clicked on the website for this law token. I hope nobody connected their wallet. This was made by the scammer who took over the phone and Twitter account of attorney John Deaton. we do have the best community ever. I was just thrilled to see how many people were retweeting, asking Elon Musk for help. And the site was taken down. And yep, it's community at its finest. You know, I was so worried that I was going to offend John with a question that I said, is this really you? Because I thought, gosh, if it's really his law token, and I'm definitely questioning what in the heck he's doing here. But then I said to myself, no way, this can't be John. So I hit the send button and it tweeted out. And I guess that turned out to be a good thing because it notified him that there was a problem with his account. And can you believe it? The scammer actually replied to me. Oh, that was just unbelievable. And John goes on to say in a tweet here that, yeah, the community was great and hold him accountable just like anyone else. And he was glad I'd done it. When he saw the scammer, he too saw red. Now, just a little reminder, because I've been watching a lot of YouTube influencers out there, and they seem to think that the new XRPL chain, which was launched by Weitza Wind and his team, along with a few others, is part of Ripple. And just to clarify, this new chain doesn't have anything to do with Ripple or having a U.S. association. So I will tell you that a number of enterprises are already looking forward to utilizing XRP in this chain because of the information that I'm receiving in direct mails on Twitter. And it's really time to govern and push this space with innovation in ways that we've not been able to do before. Now, somebody asked me, does that mean we don't like Ripple? No, of course not. We love Ripple. We love everyone who is bringing adoption to this ecosystem. And Ripple happens to be one of those everyone. Continuing, the XRP Ledger Foundation has a YouTube channel, and this morning there was an XRP Ledger developer community call number 3. And I want to show you some of those stats in a takeaway. As I think most everyone knows, I'm a data and statistic geek. Yeah, I just love them. And I thought, well, these are so interesting that I learned on that call that I decided to make a little bit of a visual because I think it grabs more attention. These are the early stats when the XLS 20 just went live, the first 4 months and 20 days. There were over 1 million issued NFTs with 191,000 burned and just about 500 and some thousand moved once after minting. Now, what I really found most interesting are these stats here, though. 4,000 issuing accounts. So we've got over 4,000 people who actually were issuing the NFTs. And then you have 18,000 account holders. And this is the best of all the stats in there. A little over 82,000 NFTs were moved more than once. So that shows the health of the secondary market. And one of those NFTs, which I don't know, I'm going to see if I can find out which one it was. It's been moved 44 times. I wonder which one that is. To take you out on this video, Janet Yellen just appeared on CNBC about 15 minutes ago, and she made a comment about crypto. Until next time, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.
Madam Secretary, virtually every interview that we've done over the many years with you, we've always mentioned crypto. We're going to have Brian Armstrong from Coinbase on the program in just a little bit. Obviously, there's the lawsuit that the SEC has now brought against them and the separate lawsuit against Binance just in the past week. I'm curious where you stand now on crypto, because I think there was an evolution in your thinking in certain ways. Maybe it's changed. I don't know. What's your sense for the American public who's thinking about whether to invest in the world of crypto today?
Well, you know, we recently wrote, Treasury contributed a set of reports in response to the president's executive order to examine the risks inherent in crypto and we identified a number of risks, some of which risk to consumers, investors. Our laws are already strong. The SEC, the CFTC, and other regulators have the ability and tools to protect consumers and investors, and I'm supportive, very supportive of seeing those agencies use the tools they have. I can't comment on the individual matters the SEC is looking at, but I think it's certainly appropriate that they do that. And then I see some holes in the system where additional regulation, I think, would be appropriate, and we would like to work with Congress to see additional legislation passed.